Hi everyone, this is Perfume Coast, so welcome to my channel. Today's podcast of mine is dedicated to musky fragrances in my collection, so without further ado, let's jump into the ocean of perfumes. But this podcast has also been inspired largely by Kayali line Freedom. This is a new line and it's dedicated to a musk. So recently I found out that Eau de Coton, CEO of Kayali, introduced her new line consisting of 4 fragrances, which, as far as I know, are already available on Kayali website, but unfortunately not so much available just yet in wider shops worldwide. But before I get into Eau de Coton's collection, I'll briefly share the limited selection of fragrances from my collection, dedicated to musk, obviously. What is it, musk note? It definitely gives off this clean, fluffy, ethereal quality. Sometimes it can give off the powdery effect as well, and very often it also supports the keynote, be it floral accord, gourmand accord, or what have you. And if so, this front and center accord is immediately given this extra lightness by this musky undertone. Well, obviously there's other type of musk which is commonly called grey musk, which is a bit on the dirty side. Of this, I happen to be a bit apprehensive. So in my lineup, you're not likely to observe any of this kind of musk. So all of them are squeaky clean musks, so to speak. And the first fragrance I'd like to talk about is the release by Moschino. It's called Toy 2. But let's get reminded of the notes that this one is having. So on the top we've got apple, mandarin orange and magnolia. In the middle there's white currant, peony and jasmine. And finally in the base there's musk, sandalwood and amberwood. So this fragrance happens to be my absolute favorite as far as musky fragrances and laundry detergent fragrances are concerned, because to me it's straight up laundry detergent with a touch of apple. And the apple is sort of realistic here, which is sort of juxtaposition of synthetic creation and natural apple. So a very beautiful scent, which I highly recommend if you're someone like me who likes at times to smell squeaky clean laundry detergent, if you will. So next up is the release of Clean Reserve. This one is called Warm Cotton. So let's get reminded of the notes of this one. So on the top we've got aldehydes, ozonic notes, watery notes and ginger. In the middle we've got green notes, floral notes, mint and pepper. And finally in the base there's musk, vetiver and incense. So this one is not difficult to understand. This is, straight up your laundry just taken out of washer dryer. And specifically it's a sort of wet laundry, because this fragrance has sort of humidity, the likes that washer dryer may give off. So next up it's sister from the same brand, which is called Acqua Neroli, and this one consists of bergamot, Sicilian orange, mandarin orange. In the middle we've got Neroli, orange blossom and jasmine, and finally in the base there's musk, ambrette, amber and sandalwood. So take the previous fragrance, add up a bit of white florals in the form of Neroli, and there you have it, this fragrance. So if you like something a bit extra on the top of your laundry detergent smell, this would be it. So next up is a perfume from which my aspiration for perfume collection started. This one is by Replica and it's called Lazy Sunday Morning. So let's get reminded of this popular one. So on the top we've got aldehydes, lily of the valley and pear. In the middle there's rose, iris, orange blossom, and finally in the base there's white musk, ambrette and Indonesian patchouli leaf. So this one to me doesn't smell a bit of pear. In fact, I detect zero fruitiness in here, but what I do detect is utter sparkliness, probably given by aldehydes, cleanest lily of the valley amplified by musk, and it also has this utter powdery quality due to the presence of iris. Beautiful scent, giving off this cottony feel almost. Talking of cotton, next up we've got Guerlain's release, which is called Eau de Coton, and this one consists of the following notes according to Fragrantica: white musk, cotton flower, linen, orange blossom, and almond. So this one is your, I don't know, luxurious fabric softener, if you will. And due to the presence of cotton flowers specifically, it will certainly give off this cottony feel equally to the previous perfume of Replica. But this vibe will be even more classy, luxurious, slightly amped up and perfumey, if you will. So if you want your lazy Sunday morning along the lines fragrance, but slightly more perfumey and with a floral touch, because it's also there's also orange blossom, which amplified here sort of. So please put your nose on this one. You'll not be disappointed. So next up, we've got a very beautiful release by the brand that's called Berdoues. And this one is called Musk Blanc and Long, which is translated literally as white musk and linen. So this one consists yet again of cotton flower, cashmere wood, neroli and musk. And this one is, your skin but better type of fragrance. It doesn't, add up anything, or it doesn't take away anything. It just, the cleanest of all fragrances, perhaps, not really giving off anything specific, not even laundry detergent. But what it is specifically what I said, your skin but better type of fragrance. So if you do not feel like wearing any perfume at all, please test this out. It might be just satisfy your wishes. But mind you, it's not the kind of molecular fragrances that Juliette Has a Gun, for example, at times releases. It's quite prominent, but it's nondescript in a best possible way, because this sort of your skin but better type of fragrances is also in demand. If you are in the office environment or you would not like to overpower people around you. So a big recommendation in this respect. So next up, we've got another musky fragrance. This one is quite popular, up to date, I think. And this one is released by the house Diptyque, which is called Le Papier. So let's see which notes are we having here. So here what we've got is musk, white musk, sesame seed, mimosa and woody notes. So this one is quite an interesting one, whilst being extremely clean because we've got double musk in here. It also has this nutty quality and a bit of floral touch due to mimosa presence. But the imagery that this one is getting, as the name suggests, has to do with paper. And to me, it smells exactly like white, clean, new page of catalogue may smell like, with no print on it, perhaps. So very beautiful and unusual scent, which I highly recommend if you're a lover of clean, musky fragrances, as I am. So next up is yet another release by the same brand, Diptyque. This one used to be quite popular as well, not these days, I think, anymore. But nonetheless, this one is called Fleur de Peau. And let's see which notes we're having here, because there's quite a multitude of ones. So on the top we've got aldehydes, pink pepper, angelica and bergamot. In the middle we've got iris, Turkish rose, and in the base we've got musk, ambrette, carrot, ambergris, sandalwood, leather and amberwood. So this one is quite a powdery scent, and here we're passing on to the powdery territory, I think, as far as fragrance lineup is concerned. And no wonder we've got quite a big presence of iris in the middle. But what's interesting here is that this fragrance also has amplified presence of green faucets, probably coming from angelica. And the opening is so bright due to aldehydes and pink pepper combo, which oftentimes gives off this effect. But what's the most interesting feature of this fragrance, that along with powderiness and brightness and greenness that it has to it, there is this vegetal accord as well, or undertone rather, which is given probably by the note of carrot. So a very interesting one. I highly recommend to test it out if you are curious what powdery, extremely powdery fragrance may give off in terms of quite an interesting kind of dimensions. So next up, we've got yet another powder release. This one is by brand Narciso Rodriguez, and this one is called Radiante. So this one has been for quite a few months on my wish list, and finally I pulled the trigger and I bought this fragrance after having smelled one, obviously, because testing is key. And I was specifically drawn by the note of carnation, which in fact I couldn't detect when I smelled it for the first time. But let's get reminded of the notes nonetheless. So on the top we've got carnation, aldehydes and lily of the valley. In the middle there's cotton flower, orange blossom and clove. And finally in the base there's musk, woody notes, vetiver, Virginian cedar and amber. So despite the fact that it sort of let me down in terms of the fact that I couldn't detect any carnation note, it appears to be currently one of my favorite powdery scents because what I can detect is amplified cotton flower, which obviously gives off this linen-like cottony feel as well. It's slightly floral from orange blossom as well. The cleanest of fragrances, again, due to the presence of lily of the valley. So my powder, other than baby powder definitely, which is cottony, slightly citrusy, orange blossomy, extremely feminine by the way, and classy as well. So next up, we've got yet another powder release, which is quite rare to come by these days, I think. This one is by House Penhaligons, and this one is called Artemisia. So let's get reminded of the notes of this one. So on the top we've got nectarine and green notes. In the middle there's violet, vanilla, lily of the valley and tea, also jasmine and green apple. And finally in the base there's musk, sandalwood, oak moss and amber. So this one attracted me by sheer presence of nectarine notes. And this was in fact a blind buy because I could literally find no samples in the shops, plus I think at that time it was announced as being discontinued, so I had to pull the trigger and do the blind buy. And when it arrived, as oftentimes happens, as with previous perfume as well, I couldn't detect any nectarine as well, but nonetheless I decided to keep this fragrance definitely because what I was drawn by is by utter powderiness, cleanness, and what's interesting about this scent is that it gives off different things during different times of wear, so to speak. One time it may give off tea-like quality, another time it just straight up pure powder. It may also give off some fruity effects other than nectarine, obviously. So a very beautiful, interesting scent, which also has this herbaceous quality, which is quite interesting and on a sweeter side. So if you're curious, this is a high recommendation to test out as well. So next up is a beautiful release by Jo Malone, and this one is called Musk Memento. So as far as I remember, this is the release of last year, meaning 2024, and it came as one of the 4 fragrances of the line, the name of which I do not remember, unfortunately. But what I do have here is what Fragrantica is giving us in terms of notes, which are aldehydes and ambrette on the top. In the middle we've got lavender, iris and cedar, and finally in the base there's white musk, musk, amber and patchouli. So this one, similarly to the Narciso Rodriguez vibe, is quite nondescript, but in the best possible way, because whilst you are struggling to understand what you're smelling, by the way, in the best traditions of perfumes of 80s and 90s, it's very beautiful, elegant, well blended. It has a bit of floral quality, it has a bit of powdery quality, it's somewhat sweet, there is definitely ambery undertone, just a touch of it. And it's also extremely woody. And the aldehydes in the opening are giving this fragrance utter sparkliness and brightness. So again, classy, elegant, slightly floral scent, which is, I think, all year round and nondescript in the best traditions of past decades, so to speak. So next up is yet another beautiful release coming from Designer Street yet again. So this one is released by the house Prada, and this one is called Prada Paradox Virtual Flower. So on the top we've got bergamot, in the middle there's a combo of jasmine and neroli, and finally in the base there's musk and ambrette. So this one has also been on my wish list for quite a while, and this is a release of this 2025 this year. When I smelled this fragrance, I needed to have it right away, but it got on my wish list instead. And so when I bought it, I was so happy, because what this fragrance is quite clean, feminine, musky fragrance, giving off the combo of white florals, which are not carnal or dirty at all, but rather gentle, well blended. And I would say that the prominence of neroli over jasmine is quite observant here, but it's also a bit citrusy, a bit neroli-like, but toned down with jasmine a bit, so it's not neroli forward scent. Very beautiful, musky, floral, citrusy scent. So next up, we've got another budgetary release, similar to the release of Berdoues. By the way, Berdoues is a nice house which provides quite affordable fragrances of high quality for very little money, I would say, to pay. So this one is by the brand Philosophy, and this one is called Grace, and not just Grace, pure Grace. So in terms of the notes, what we're dealing here with would be lavender and bergamot on the top. In the middle there's water lily and jasmine, and finally in the base there's musk. So to me it gives off the vibes of laundry detergent with the touch of rose water perhaps. Although of course we've just seen that there is no rose note at all, but nonetheless that's what I'm smelling. So if you would like to smell something floral, but laundry detergent as well, so this might be also an option to test out. So next up is another musky release which I really enjoy wearing and smelling. This one is released by Issey Myake, and this one is called Drop. This seems to be an original, I think, and what we're dealing here with on the top would be almond milk, damask rose, lilac, solar notes, jasmine, star anise, orange blossom, and finally in the base there's musk, vanilla, ambroxan, and atlas cedar. So this one is another clean fragrance with the prominent forward-looking lilac, I would say. So lilac is very prominent here, and but this lilac is not on the colder side. It's actually warmed up by the solar notes presence. But what this fragrance is also about is it's about utter creaminess given by almond milk, and this almost juxtaposition between creaminess of almond milk and something cold, which is normally given off by the note of lilac. So a very interesting scent, which is at the same time, which is creamy and at the same time quite floral. But musk also sort of breaks down this creaminess given by almond milk. And so what you're dealing with is this slightly creamy but fluffy nonetheless lilac, which is front and center here. So next up we've got another brilliant release which is called, let me see what we're having here. So next up is the release by Molton Brown, and this one is called Milk Musk. So in terms of the notes, what we're dealing here with is milk and elemi resin. In the middle there's vanilla, musk and ambroxan, and finally in the base there's tonka bean and benzoin. So this one to me gives off this prominent milk accord, but not just milk, it's cold milk specifically, taken out fresh from the fridge, if you will. It's touch sweet, not overly sweet, and it also has a sort of resinous, herbaceous quality, probably given by elemi resin, which is present in here. So very interesting scent, very unisex, because we've got both a bit of sweetness liked by females and also resinous quality which will cater to the male audience, I think. So big recommendation, and this is the kind of musk which can easily be, called musky gourmand type of profile, I think. So next up, and to wrap this video with, it's called Red Berries, and the brand is called Soeurs de Nuit, or Soeurs de Nuit, that would be the correct pronunciation. So this is yet another gourmand musk, a bit berry forward like, a lot berry forward like, I would say, and specifically what it has is this strawberry, which is amplified here front and center, but it's not the sort of creamy strawberry, the kind of milkshakey strawberry. It's more of a fresh strawberry, broken down by this fluffy, clean musk. So at the end of the day, what I'm smelling here would be my strawberry laundry detergent. So this has been the last fragrance as far as my collection is concerned, and I'm getting back to the description and excitement about the forthcoming Monaco collection, which is called Freedom, dedicated to musk. So this one again consists of 4 fragrances, and what these fragrances are would be Freedom Musk Bouquet, Freedom Musk Santal, Freedom Musk Matcha, and Freedom Musk Latte. So the 2 of them I'm definitely interested in. So this would be Freedom Musk Latte and Freedom Musk Santal. By the way, Freedom Musk Santal allegedly is the only perfume out of 4 which will be distributed in 3 sizes. That would be 10 ml, 50 ml, and 100 ml. So I'm a lover of Santal, sandalwood. So am I, as far as gourmand fragrances and musks are concerned. So that's why I'm also interested in Freedom Musk Latte. Maybe let's see what the brand gives us in terms of the notes that these fragrances are going to have. So Freedom Musk Bouquet will probably consist of the notes of ylang ylang, Turkish rose, and vanilla musk. So this one, I'm interested. I'll definitely put my nose on it, although I'm a bit apprehensive as far as ylang ylang note is concerned, because to me it oftentimes gives off this carnal quality, which I'm a bit apprehensive of. So the next fragrance, as said before, is called Freedom Musk Santal, which I'm quite curious about, because I'm a lover of sandalwood notes and fragrances which may come off as quite creamy, milky at times, and some people may smell dill. Strangely enough, I'm not really the one who who detect any dill-like quality in sandalwood fragrances. So next up is Freedom Musk Matcha. This one is also I'm a bit curious about, but a bit apprehensive right from the start, because matcha to me sometimes really gives off this fishy effect. When I say fishy, I do mean this fish product quality. So it depends on how this perfume is blended, really. So very curious as well, nonetheless. And the last fragrance I've already mentioned, which I'm extremely curious about and looking forward to testing this out, it's Freedom Musk Latte. And my excitement is coming from the fact that I'm a gourmand lover in terms of fragrances are concerned. So this might be something utterly delicious, fluffy, but nonetheless milky, maybe with a bit of coffee. And what this fragrance is about, allegedly, is it has notes of pink pepper, cafe latte, and chocolate musk. Well, really delicious composition in my view. So, but that's it, guys. This wraps up today's podcast. I hope it hasn't been too long for you. If you like this podcast, please give it a like. Please, you're welcome always to share your comments and views, and probably also excitement about anticipation of this new line of Kayali. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.